Okay, this is Advanced Math 11.2 Homework Questions Part 2. I'm going over the last two that I did not finish in my previous video, number 73 and 79. Those are the ones I did previously, and I said in this video I would finish off 73 and 79. Okay, 73 is y equals 1/4 parentheses x squared minus 2x plus 5. And in this section of the book, we're asked to find the vertex, focus, directrix, and sketch. Okay. I am going to distribute the 1/4. 2 times 1/4 is 1/2. And then 1/4 times 5 is 5/4. Okay. And we want to get this into vertex form, so what I'm going to do is subtract the 5/4, and I'm going to leave this here so I can complete the square. Now, in order to complete the square, I need to factor out the 1/4, so my y minus 5/4 is going to stay over, and I'm not completing the square over here on the y because the y is not squared, so just take out the 1/4. X squared, 1/4 times what is 1/2? That's 2. 1/4 of 2 is 1/2 plus blank. 2 cut in half squared is 1. 1/4 times 1 is 1/4. Okay, and then I'm going to continue. Negative 5/4 plus 1/4 is negative 4/4. 1/4, and then x minus 1 quantity squared. Y minus 1 equals 1/4 x minus 1 squared. Move the 1 over, and we have our function. X minus 1 squared, and then plus 1. Okay, so what was done? We moved over the 5. I'm sorry, we distributed, moved over to the 5/4, factored out the 1/4, and then cut the 2 in half and squared it. Got 1. 1 times 1/4 is 1/4. Combined like terms and got 1. Moved the 1 over. Got our vertex form. Okay, and we're looking for the vertex, the focus, and the directrix. And it's y equals x squared, so it's a traditional up or down parabola with the vertex of 1, 1. I'm going to sketch and then find all my other pieces. And because it is positive, it is opening up. And c equals 1 over 4 times the absolute value of a. 1 over 1, c is 1. So from negative 1, 1, I'm going to go up 1 for my focus because it's always inside, so that would put me at 1, 2. Back to my vertex, I'm going to go down 1 for my line, and that is y equals 0. There's my graph, there's my information. Okay, number 79. And 79 reads, vertex is 3, 1, and the points given are 2, 0, and 4, 0. And in this section, they are asking us to find the parabola. In exercise 7-90, find the standard form of the equation of the parabola. And I asked you guys to put it into vertex form instead. Okay, y equals, oh, on 79, it gave you a picture. I just put the information down, but it gave you a picture. It looked like this. Let me make sure I'm getting the right one. And yes, 3, 1. And this is 2, 0, and 4, 0. Again, it was a picture. Okay, so it's y equals, because it's opening down, and we don't know a, so I'm just going to put a, x minus 3 quantity squared plus 1. So it looks like this. It does not matter which point you pick. Pick one of the points. You can try 4, 0. We'll end up with the same answer in the end. You don't have to worry about A being positive or negative. When you use a point on the graph, it automatically works out on its own. Y equals, and for the Y, I'm going to plug in 0. X, I'm going to plug in 2 minus 3 squared plus 1. 0 equals A. 2 minus 3 is negative 1 squared plus 1. Negative 1 squared is 1, so I have A plus 1 minus the 1. A equals negative 1. Y equals negative 1 parentheses X minus 3 squared plus 1. That 1 is not necessary. You could just put a negative sign there. That's perfectly fine. Looks like that. That there is your answer. If you had chosen 4, 0, you should have ended up with the same answer. I am going to add 83. That was not one of the numbers that I had originally listed, but I am going to do it. 83 gives you the vertex is negative 2, 0, and the focus is negative 3/2, 0. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a rough sketch so I know what's going on. Negative 2, 0 is the vertex. The focus is negative 3/2, which is negative 1.5. So because of where the star is, that means my parabola is opening to the right, like this, which means it's going to be X equals. And if you look back at your notes, when it is X equals, let me grab the notes out really quick. And we do need to fix it because there was a mistake in the notes that I noticed when I looked over them. Right here, I put Y equals. That should have been an X equals. So fix it in your notes. X equals. Okay, X equals A, so that's when we're using A parentheses Y plus K, quantity squared, plus H. Okay, so what are we going to have? X equals, we don't know A, Y, excuse me, and that should be a minus K. In this case, it doesn't really matter because of the 0, but it should have been a minus K. Okay, minus 0 plus 0 doesn't matter, squared, and then minus 2. Okay, opposite of the inside would be 0. Outside says the same, would be negative 2. And they're flip-flopped because the Y is on the inside, not the X. Okay, and how do we find the A? We're going to use our C value. C equals 1 over 4A. And C is the length from your vertex to your focus, or directrix. Focus is what they happen to give us in this one. And this is negative 2, and this is negative 1.5. So the length in between there, that little tiny length right there, is 1/2. Can you see that? Between negative 1.5 and negative 2, there's a length of 1/2. The length is 1/2. So 1/2 equals 1 over 4A. I'm just going to cross multiply. 4A equals 2. Divide by 4. A equals 1/2. A equals 1/2. So X equals 1/2. Y minus 0 is just Y squared minus 2. That there is your equation in vertex form. All right, that is it for this section of homework questions.